Good morning. This is Faith in Our Hometown, brought to you as a community service and sponsored by Mercy Hospital, Joplin. And now, here's your host, Father Jay Friedel.
I hope you're having a splendid Sunday thus far, especially for those of you who are watching this at dawn, okay? But at any rate, we're glad you joined us, whether you're watching it very early or just early, and that you're joining us for another Sunday morning of Faith in Our Hometown. It's always good to spend a little bit of Sunday with you, even though we can't necessarily talk back and forth, but I love talking to you in the community because our community is stronger when we connect. Our community is stronger when we share ideas in each other and share faith with each other and share differences and backgrounds with each other. My guest this morning is a familiar face to those of you who've been in Joplin for a while. It's our former mayor and now still a city councilman, Gary Shaw. And I'm going to have a little conversation with Gary about some of the recent things that have happened in his life, recent kind of commendation that he's been given. And then I also want to talk to him a little bit about the upcoming election and how we need to treat each other. So we're going to be right back after this Mercy Minute.
Lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer deaths in the U.S., and now we have an effective tool to screen for it. A low-dose CT uses a lower amount of radiation than a standard chest CT.
Breathe in.
Better detailed pictures than a chest x-ray of small abnormal areas of the lung. A person must be between 55 to 77 years old, asymptomatic, which means they don't have any symptoms such as coughing up blood, chronic cough, shortness of breath, unusual weight loss, or any other worrisome symptoms. They must also be a current smoker or have quit within the past 15 years, also must have a 30-pack year history or more, which equates to smoking 1 pack a day for 30 years, or 2 packs a day for 15 years. People generally avoid these scans possibly due to fear of what could be found. Like many other cancers, if we can detect lung cancer early, it could be very treatable and life-saving.
Well, again, thanks for joining us for another Sunday morning of Faith in Our Hometown. Gary Shaw, my guest, city councilman. I asked him during the break how long he's been serving the city, and he said 19 years.
Yes, sir.
It's a long time. So, Gary, welcome. What I want to do is I want to show everybody this wonderful award that you just got, okay, from the Chamber of Commerce. Okay, I put it over here on my table because I might take it home with me. But it's your award for being the Citizen of the Year.
Yes.
So I just want to say congratulations.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
I've only seen about 16 years of your tenure, or 15 years of your tenure in your service to the city of Joplin. But congratulations. I know that there are some wonderful people out there who do lots of good things for our city and things. But I just think back over the course of the last number of years, and I say. It's probably a very good choice because of your long-term commitment to service.
You're very kind. It's, I got involved in what they call politics. I don't consider myself a politician. I'm a church pastor, administrator, and but I want to give back to my community. And several years ago, I started getting on in different boards and commissions, and one of the then mayors said, "We think it's time for you to run for the city council." And I did that, and it's just, we live in a great city, Father Jay, and it's just, I don't know why. I've had the opportunity in the past to travel to some 28 countries and see a lot of people and experience a lot of things, but there's just something special about Joplin, Missouri.
Yeah.
And I think the people here are great. We've gone through some great things and challenges, and my goodness, to be considered an outstanding city in this community. I never dreamed of that. I don't feel I'm worthy of that, but I certainly thank the people for selecting that from the chamber. Our chamber has been a real blessing to our community for a long time. They've worked with our council and with our city to help us to bring a lot of industry and jobs to the community, and then to be recognized by them is outstanding, and I certainly thank them.
Yeah, I said to you in jest before we started, I said, what's the job description for the Citizen of the Year? But
I'm not really sure, but I'm going to try that.
I'm not so sure it comes with the job description, but I just know you well enough to know that you'll continue to care and you'll continue to be a contributing member of the community of Joplin. So I just wanted to thank you for that.
I appreciate it. You know, one of the things that's blessed me, Father Jay, is when you know, we live in a day and age when something happens, it's known all over the world. And
Oh, yeah.
this happened last Thursday morning, surprised totally. A lot of people knew about it for months, but that's the first time I knew about it. And yet Friday morning I was getting emails from people in Brazil, people in Taiwan, and New York City, Kansas City, just people that God has allowed me to have a part in their lives over the years. And they were writing to congratulate me, and it just kind of makes you happy that you've had a life where you've connected with people like that, and I thank God for that.
Well, Gary, one of the reasons, because you are respected in the community, and I think that you've had a long time to build that respect with so many people, I wanted to talk to you because, of course, you know, we got this election coming up,
Sure.
okay? You know, we're going to all go to the polls, at least I hope we all go to the polls this week and exercise our civic duty and responsibility, and also our great privilege to be able to take part in the process, okay? And regardless of which way anybody's going to vote that's out there, I want to make sure that we say to everybody, please go do that. You
Absolutely,
know?
absolutely.
But there's been so much acrimony. There's been so much dissonance that's come from the process. And again, I don't know whether it was because I was younger at the time, but to me, it seems to have gotten worse over the last number of years. And I'm not even going to try to track that down and figure out why or what. But I want to talk to somebody who's been in it for a while, who's been a pastor for a while. You've been a pastor a lot longer than I have. I mean, I'm 20 years behind you in life. Okay, so you got a head start on me.
Sure.
So you got 20 more years that you've looked at this. What can we bring? What wisdom can we bring to our greater Joplin community here about what do we do with some of this? How do we move forward? What do we do? Because come and maybe not even on Tuesday, Tuesday night like normal,
Sure.
but it doesn't really matter. I mean, once the votes are counted, people are going to be elected,
Yes.
and that's going to be that, and we move on with it and do it, whether it was my choice or not my choice. Guess who I get to work with for the next term, whatever
Right,
it is.
right.
That's that. And I may not like it, but how do we come together, even when we always don't get what we want, and still make this community better?
I don't, that's a great question. I wish I had a great answer. I think that, to me personally, I think what the world's lacking right now is love. And I know that, there's been songs written, everybody needs love, voice sweet love. But I'm talking about people that have care and concern about people. One of the things, you being a pastor, you understand that during this COVID thing and everything we're going through, there's a lot of things that we're addressing, but we're dealing with people who, in the midst of it, are losing loved ones. We're in the midst of it, are just trying to continue on. We have people that have been sheltered. We punish people in jail by putting them in a shelter, and so this is just a horrible thing that a lot of folks are going through. But I think one of the things that we've forgotten over the years is to respect. We're each God's children, each one of us, and we need to respect one another. I need to respect your position. I need to, whether I like what you stand for or not, that's not a problem. I mean, that's not anything that I should really consider. I need to respect you as an individual. You have rights. God gave us all wills, and we need to demonstrate that in everything we do. And I've tried to do that in my personal life. And it's the only advantage, other than getting a few discounts at restaurants for being a senior citizen, the only advantage is the relationships that you build. I have a gentleman that called me Friday morning from New York City that I took tours for back in 1970s. I haven't done any business with him since 1978, but we've kept in contact because I respected him and he respected me, and we just made a relationship. I think that's one of the things that is happening in our community. What's breaking? That's one of the reasons why I was so against mandating masks. I think masks are wonderful. We need to use them. We need to practice them. We need to protect one another. But to mandate them causes us to have a division. And we don't need things now that are going to divide us. We need things that are going to bring us together. And that's one of the highlights of my career being on the city council was the year anniversary after the tornado when we reversed the path of the tornado, and we started out on Walmart's parking lot and marched. And we thought if we could get 1,000 to 2,000 people, it'd be great. And we had somewhere between 10,000 and 13,000 people. And these were mothers pushing their babies in carts. These were people that had their dogs and their children and going on. And for the first time, they were able to put all the wreckage and everything that had happened behind them and see that there was something down the road we were going to be able to get to. We have to realize that we're like the lady that you were speaking to a while back, that you have to realize that we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this. We have to deal with it the best we can. And as far as voting, you know, one of the biggest honors that I had was the first time I was able to vote.
Me too.
I think the only thing that might have rallied that was when the first time I stood as a private at Fort Knox, Kentucky, and heard the national anthem played, and I was a soldier. You know, these are important things that we as citizens need to do. And I just think that if we could just learn to respect one another. I need to understand why you feel the way you do. You need to try to understand why I feel the way I do.
Exactly.
And I need to concentrate. You know, I'm sure you've done marriage counseling. I've done a little marriage counseling over the years. And one of the things that people don't change a whole lot, but people change what they're looking at. When I first met my wife, there was nothing in the world that was wrong with her. She was perfect, you know. And the only thing, you know, if you're not careful in a marriage, you stop looking at all that perfection and you start seeing, well, you know, she doesn't always comb her hair, and she does this or that, you know. So it's all according to what you concentrate on. And as citizens, we need to not concentrate on what we don't have in Joplin. Mm-hmm. We need to concentrate on what we do have together and work to get what we don't have put in place. And that's why I like to be a part of it.
Yeah, and again, you've done a great job doing that here for the city of Joplin, and we're grateful to you for it. You know, we one of the things that it is I think a privilege in being a pastor. Again, we share that is that you know, people trust you with you know, with their lives, and they trust you. They give you some authority to speak to them each week. Yeah. And you know, because if they don't want to give you that authority, they just don't. I mean, they turn you out. There was a guy I used to love. I mean, it was a riot, but you know, he'd start talking, and he'd reach up and he'd turn down his hearing aid, and I'd be like, okay. I mean, I guess, you know, I had not yet earned the ability to be able to talk to him, or at least not where he was saying, I want to hear what you have to say.
Sure.
You know, and I think we need to. I try to do that with everybody.
Yes.
I mean, I really do. I try to do that with everybody. You know, because when I meet somebody, even at the grocery store or something else, I mean, I can just, you know, blow everybody off and just, you know, say I'm not going there, or I don't want to talk to anybody or whatever. Right. But when somebody really approaches me and says, "Can I talk to you for a minute?"
Yes. Yeah.
I just try to honor that person in that moment and try to figure out what their position is, or where they're coming from, or why they even want to have the conversation with me. And so we've got to do that. I just think we've got to be better with that. And again, you've been able to manage that. My guest this morning is Gary Shaw. Gary's one of our councilmen, and just named recently by the Chamber of Commerce as Citizen of the Year. So we're going to be right back to continue our conversation right after this quick break. Not a mercy minute, but a quick break.
You're watching Faith in Our Hometown on KSN TV, brought to you as a community service and sponsored by Mercy Hospital, Joplin.
So Gary, one of the things there's two things that happen before the break, so I can go off in either direction, but I'm going to pick this one first. And then we can come back to the other one. But you talked about one of the best moments in your life was when you were able to, you know, to vote, you know, the first time. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and I remember that myself. Because it was just like it was something you waited for so long to be able to do. Mm-hmm. And you know, and realize it's part of what we do in this country. Mm-hmm. I mean, I realize we disagree on stuff, and I realize that not everybody can win an election. Right. You know, somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose, especially if you're, you know, because you can only elect one, mm-hmm. you know, person to each one of those positions.
Sure.
So how do we And what's your best advice? Because there are going to be some people who are going to be very unhappy, on Wednesday because it didn't go the way they wanted it to. What do you say to them? How do you keep them involved in the process? How do you keep them involved in the political process? How do you keep them involved in talking to other people? How do we do that?
Well, I think first of all, you just term it. I don't get up in the morning and decide whether I'm going to church on Sunday morning. I know that's part of it. That's what I'm going to do, And so we know we're going to vote. There are several parties, two main parties. And one of the things that bothers me most is the fact that a lot of times people are more dedicated to the Democratic Party or the Republican Party than they are to God Himself and what God wants us to do.
Don't get me started.
But I think we need to ask God for wisdom. I think we need to understand who the people we're voting for, what they stand for. And I have voted for both people in both parties, but I think that that's part of our duty. I appreciate the stands that the Republican Party has. Appreciate some of the stands that the Democratic Party.
If I could have a scissors and cut those candidates apart and take this issue for this one and this issue for this one, I'd be able to maybe vote for somebody that I didn't have to, compromise a little on. Yeah. But I feel like every time I do it, I got to compromise.
Yes, and one of the things, Father Jay, that really concerns me is that when we have a country that needs to come together, that we have two men who are running for the president, and they do a debate, and they end up just hollering at one another. They're both men.
It was painful.
They're both men that have given a lot to serve their country. I understand that, but we have to realize, number one, Mr. Trump is the president of the United States right now. We need, by Scripture tells us to pray for him. So as citizens, we should pray for him. We may not agree with everything he does. When Mr. Obama was president, we were told to pray for him. We needed to pray for him. We didn't agree with everything he did. And I think, leading up to, we don't have to be at war. We can have differences of opinion, but that doesn't need to lead to a battle.
Exactly.
We can have difference of opinion. We can support people, and my mother was a chaplain in the jail for 30 years, and so I had she practiced on me. Then she went to taking care of the inmates. But
maybe it was the other way around. I'm not
sure how that worked. Yeah. But anyway, one of the things when she first started. She started, they elect sheriffs every few years. And so she had one sheriff that really helped her, so she was supporting him. Well, she learned, very real fact, that things changed, and they had another sheriff come in, and she was back in the other one. So she learned to take advantage of the situation you're in, use that for the purpose that God's called you to do. And so I think, let's have our differences of opinions. Let's voice our opinions. Let's do that, but let's not go to battle over it. Yeah. And come, like you say, come Wednesday morning, thank God for the person that's in that seat. Pray for that person, man or woman,
and realize you're going to work with him no matter what. You've got to.
You may not like the direction they're taking, and that's why you have an opportunity to vote. You can vote for the one you think is going to take you in the direction you want to go. But when it happens, I think we're expected by God to respect those in authority over us, and not that they're become our gods by any means, but they're in positions to serve. And if we can help them understand they're supposed to serve the people and not the government, we'd be a little better off.
I always say, the common good and the most vulnerable among us.
Yes,
absolutely. That's really what the role of government is supposed to wind up doing for us. It's interesting. I will also say that, sometimes people will just say, well, I cannot respect this person. Okay, but then respect the position.
Yes, absolutely.
Respect the position.
Absolutely.
I will tell you this. My former bishop, three bishops ago, with the man who ordained me, Bishop Liebrecht, he said, it's getting harder and harder. He said, anymore, he said, being a bishop will only get you the introduction anymore. It used to be being the bishop would get you all the respect.
Oh, yeah.
But he said, that's changed. Now being the bishop only gets you the introduction. You got to earn the respect.
Yes.
They'll still respect the position, but that's what gets you in the door. But whether you keep them, whether you keep the respect or not, depends on the way that you handle yourself in the job. And he told me that when I was becoming a pastor,
Sure.
and all that kind of good stuff. So it was
Well, I learned that in the Army.
Yeah.
You learn to respect the officer. You not particularly for what he stands for, and sometimes you run into some officers that, just like you, make some pretty dumb mistakes. But the uniform represents the authority that's been given him by the general in the armies to be able to conduct the business that need to be taken care of. So you respect that position, and I think that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
And most of the people in our community. One of the reasons that I like to be a part of what I'm doing is because I want to help people. I've learned that from youth. I've been saved since I was 10 years old. My mom got everybody in the neighborhood saved, all the kids, and then she went after the parents, But it
was a smart lady. She worked for the kids first.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, the kids pretty well run the rule of the world. If you get your kids involved in something, the parents will follow. Obviously,
Yeah.
That's seen on many different fronts. But it's just important for us to somehow come to the realization that it's not all about us. It's all about what we can do for others. And I get, as I've gotten a little older, the other day when they gave me that award, which was very unexpected, and like I say, I don't feel worthy of it, but the only thing I could do was shed tears. I couldn't even say a word. People don't believe that I'm ever in that position, but
they wouldn't believe it about me either, Gary. So it's okay. But I wish I'd have been there to see it. But go ahead.
But as I've gotten a little older, especially, I'm just so thankful for the opportunity God gives us, for the doors that He opens, and the opportunities to do things. Probably somebody would find fault in this, but the other evening when we getting ready to have our budget session at City Hall. We had just gotten word that our governor and his wife both had the COVID-19. And so before we started, the mayor pro tem, our mayor was in quarantine. The mayor pro tem came over to me and said, as we start the meeting, would you say a prayer and pray for the governor?
Yeah.
That's
and everybody, somebody said, somebody, would comment on the fact that, are we going to have a problem adding the president and the first lady to the petitions? I'm like, absolutely not. Just add them in there. We're praying for everybody else who's got this stuff.
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't we pray for everybody that's got it? So pray for the governor's wife, pray for the president's wife, pray for all of our parishioners who have it.
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't we do
Absolutely.
that? I mean, why would we not do that? I don't care whether he's a Democrat or a Republican. I don't care whether I agree with him or like him or don't like him. Why wouldn't I pray for everybody who's sick?
First thing I do when I get up in the morning is take a shower, and I do a lot of praying in that shower. God, did I come out of there clean?
You run out of hot water very often?
Well, I do a little bit quicker than that.
Right.
He's faster than I am. He can receive it faster than I can put it out.
I love it. So in terms of, so approaching your 80th, well, you're in your 80th year,
Yes, yeah.
You're 79, so you're in your 80th year of life. New person moves to Joplin. What would you advise him as the citizen of the year? What would you say to him about Joplin? What would you say to him about being involved in the city and life?
Well, of course, I'm biased.
Yeah.
But I would say, number one, find you a church home to get involved in. Be a part of it where you can give. The scripture says it's more blessed to give than receive. I've done a lot of receiving over the years, but there is nothing like giving. And then get involved in your city. Years ago, I thought God is telling me that I need to be involved in the city. And so I ran out and ran for the city council. I got beat by 100 votes because I thought, if God wants me here, He'll put me there. Well, God expects me to do some things on my own, And so I worked on several committees and things, and when the time was right, somebody came and told me that it was time for that to happen. Get involved in your city, get involved in your church, get involved in your city. And there's no blessing in life any greater than being a part of somebody else's life and know that you're a blessing to them. When they come to you, I don't wear a Jesus pin, but people know who I stand for. And I have people at City Hall, I have people that I meet that my mama taught me years ago, it's easy to say, I'll pray for you. But she said, don't say you're going to pray for him. Stop and pray for him right
there.
So
Yep.
anyway.
That's what I do because my brain's like, a sieve. So,
Well,
I go and pray for the people right when I say it, because if I don't, sometimes I remember and sometimes I don't.
Well,
So-
you forget, then you're lying to them. If you say you're
Exactly.
going to promise
You don't want
them.
to do that. You don't want to promise somebody you're going to pray for
But
them and not do it.
we have a great community. We told the community what we needed for the police and fire. You helped us do that by bringing us on your program. The people rallied to that in a time when things were not easy. 77% it passed by 77%. Our people in this city, when you shoot them square, you deal with them, and if they take the time to realize that you're shooting them square, they'll do anything they can to help make our city better. And I'm anxious about that. Our new city manager has just done an outstanding job. I'm so proud of him, and he has a quiet demeanor, and yet when he needs to take charge, he takes charge.
Good.
But I see on the forefront, that it's easy to say our greatest days are ahead of us, but I believe they really are.
Well,
I
Gary,
really do.
I can believe it sitting here listening to you. So we're going to be right back after this Mercy Minute. Don't go away.
A new baby changes the world and each of us. The Sisters of Mercy devoted themselves to offering exceptional maternity and delivery care, training generations of nurses to do the same. Mercy continues to answer the same call, to not only care for your baby, but to cherish them too. Mercy, in every era, your life is our life's work. Learn why we serve at mercy.net/legacy. In Ireland, the first Sisters of Mercy were called the Walking Sisters because every day they went out in search of women and children who needed healing or help. Mercy continues to answer the same call, dedicated to the health of every woman who comes to us for care. Mercy, in every era, your life is our life's work. Learn why we serve at mercy.net/legacy.
Well, again, I always feel blessed that you spend some of your Sunday morning with me and with all the people that I bring on the show that really care about what goes on around here in the greater Joplin area. We are blessed in our community, and I was blessed this morning to talk with Gary Shaw, a former mayor, present city councilman, Chamber of Commerce Citizen of the Year. And why I like to talk to Gary, especially in this week before the election, is because Gary, I think, is got some just good old wisdom that's come from a life well lived. And so I'm always honored to be around him. I hope you heard some of the good things he was urging us to, because I think he was really worth listening to this morning, because he gets that we need to be together in order to be our best. And we need to rely on each other and call forth that best from each other, whether it be at the countrywide level or at the city level. So let's continue to support our leaders and make this all work together. God bless.
Thanks for watching. Faith in Our Hometown can be seen Sunday mornings at 6:30 and 9 a.m. on KSN. Brought to you as a community service and sponsored by Mercy Hospital, Joplin.